All right, so I think I got rid of that stuff that was in the background there. Joined here on Chamber Chat by Jessica Bollema. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. You're doing great.
Well, thanks. It's
for your first time.
For my first time on Good Morning Artesia. Well, on this side of the desk. I mean, I sit on your side sometimes, but yeah, to be over here is like I said, it's a little bit intimidating, and I fancy myself not being intimidated easily, but it's a little intimidating. You sit down here and you got all these numbers in front of you and all these breaks and all this stuff. And
the flashing lights and the buttons.
Yeah, and there's a lot of buttons over here. You know, I look at this board and I'm like,
It is intimidating.
A little bit intimidating. So thanks for coming in this morning. I know you guys normally come in. Normally Coxie Moppin is with you, but not this morning.
Yeah, we're down. Haley's out this morning, and so in order to keep the chamber open on the other side of things, we had to divide and conquer this morning. So you got me. Sorry.
All right. Well, good. No reason for apologies. Glad you're here this morning, and we're going to get to what's going on around town, but I wanted to get your take first. And I've had kind of two subjects this morning, but so let's talk a little bit about social media. What is your thoughts on social media? And I'm going to say specifically Facebook, but you can talk about others as well. I know there's a lot of social media out there. What are your thoughts on it? What do you think about it?
Yeah, so as far as the chamber goes, I actually been thinking about this after listening to you this morning a lot, because I'm like, man, I know earlier you were saying it's a tool. A lot of people use it as a tool, and don't let it, it, like you said earlier also, that it's a choice, right? So if you end up choosing to let it be a time suck, then it will end up being a time suck. But also what we have done recently in the last year is this digital media marketing tool. We use it for a lot of our events here in Artesia to bring people in. And we have seen record numbers for so many of our events just by using this tool. And I know you were talking earlier about Big Brother, 1984, and all the things, and it's kind of interesting, like we get to be that person. And so, like for instance, ours isn't necessarily things that someone has said on the phone or have searched for on the phone, but it has been locations. So, for instance, we'll have, say someone goes to a country concert out of town somewhere, we can pinpoint that location, and then after they leave, if they have been there in the last 45 days, after they leave, they'll start getting ads for some of our country concerts, like our Red Dirt Black Gold coming up in October. So that's how we've been using it, and I know it is Big Brother, but we feel like it's been a positive return on that. Our Balloons and Tunes last year, we marketed the location of Balloon Fiesta Park. So anybody who has gone to Balloon Fiesta Park in that time frame will start getting our ads for Balloons and Tunes. They can come down here and enjoy our hot air balloons as well.
So up in Albuquerque,
yes,
you're talking about.
Yes.
So if they saw that, then they're going to get stuff on us.
Yes, exactly. So it's kind of neat because you can pinpoint and target people, like it's like-minded, right? So if they went to that event, they obviously like balloons, hot air balloons. So hey, all of a sudden now you start, come to Artesia, stay for the weekend, see our hot air balloons as well.
Right.
So.
All right, so that's on a professional level.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think that the tools, and Jeffrey's coming in here. I don't know if I need to turn them back up. I just hear a lot of bumping and, okay, good.
Oh, that's my mic.
Yeah, which I had you higher than me to begin with, and I left you higher than me, but I turned them down a little because it seems like I get, but again, who knows? It's probably working just fine.
Cool.
Jeffrey will keep monitor of us. All right, so from a professional level, you view social media as fantastic.
Yes, I mean, because we can use it as that. Personally, I mean, of course, we can all learn tricks of the trade, and like you said earlier, it's a choice. So if I choose to sit there and scroll and not get my sleep, my 8 hours of sleep, that's on me,
You get 8 hours of sleep?
I definitely try. Yes,
sir. That's awesome. I do.
But then, there's like, I don't know, it's hard because you've got your social aspect of it and personally, but then you've got the professional side of it, and being a face of the chamber and out in the community. You don't want that personal side of Facebook to end up clouding anyone's judgment professionally of the chamber, right? So there's always that fine line too of like, what do you look like on social media personally that others might be looking at you professionally, in this chamber aspect. So there's always that kind of stuff too that you really have to, you think twice about what you post. And the other flip side of that is the safety of it as well, right? Of course, we all don't want to think about it, but this human trafficking things and, posting our kids and posting this and posting, it could get scary real quick.
Yeah, that's something I didn't mention earlier. I've got friends that, and even family members that they don't want to put anything about basically about their kids. No pictures, nothing like that. And then I've got friends and family that show everything.
Yes.
And not worried about it. So
Everywhere.
it is what it is. It is what we make of it. Anything, really, we can be worried about anything. And so people have different levels of worry. So I agree with you. I didn't bring up that aspect of it, but it's definitely part of it. The other thing I didn't bring up, I'm glad you did, is for a lot of people, they work somewhere or they don't run a business, quote unquote. You guys are running the Chamber of Commerce, and so you say it, and I agree with you. You want to be mindful of what you're doing on your personal social media stuff, because you don't want it to negatively affect or reflect your job. And so with Facebook, it's easy. I said this earlier. And I'm going to admit to something here that I probably wouldn't normally admit to. One time, I got pulled into an argument. I've always told myself that if I see things that are controversial, that people have these strong feelings about, and there's a lot of those issues, I kind of just scroll by it when I'm looking at Facebook, because I try to use Facebook as a tool for what I've got going on with my businesses, and with, of course, Baker Valley Broadcasting getting to do well, not just football, but Bulldog sports. I try to use it as that tool, and also for my church, and because if people won't get up and go to church, well, we want them to still hear what's going on in church service and the Word of God. So we use that. There's another tool. The churches use it. The chamber uses it. It's a great tool. But at the same time, I don't want to get pulled in. So one time, I was scrolling through Facebook, and I don't even remember what the topic was, but it was something that just lit me up for a moment, and I got pulled into it. And I made 3 or 4 comments, and whoever it was that was the other side of the topic was coming back at me, and then I thought, what am I doing?
Yes.
Delete. I just quit. I just went on, and it's only happened to me once, but I know it happens to people all the time. Yeah. Because the way we're built, the way we're wired, is that we each have our own things that fire us up.
Yes.
And some people have more than others, it appears to me, as I scroll through Facebook. But nonetheless, we each have things that fire us up. And so, I keep saying Facebook. It's interesting. My brothers and I talk about, I've got 2 younger brothers, and we talk about stuff like this from time to time. And both of them are not, they're not 100% anti-social media, but they're pretty close.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't think of things like Pinterest, for example, as a social media platform, but it really is, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you look at Pinterest.
I do.
Okay.
Anytime we're brainstorming for whether it is professionally or personally, like I look at recipes upon recipes upon recipe. Every week when I do my meal prep, I'm on Pinterest looking at stuff. And same thing for the chamber. When we're looking at events, I'm like, hey, what's a new tchotchke, or what's a new gift item that we could give for this, or what's a fun new idea? Like, I go to Pinterest because there's so many ideas on there. I'm really good at recreating things.
So you see something you like and then recreate it.
Oh yeah, I'm really.
And not
good at
only
that.
meals, I assume, but Pinterest is. I used to think Pinterest was
Girly.
girly, number one, yes. And I don't know if it really is, but that's what I always thought of it.
Yeah.
But more of, I always thought of Pinterest as where you get, like you said, ideas how to make things and things like that. But really, it's a lot broader than that.
Yes.
It's got basically anything, I guess, everything. Is it set up like Facebook where you can have chats going and or is it like that?
I think yes, you can send. I've only done it to where, like, I wanted to share, for instance, a recipe with someone else. They're like, "Ooh, that was really good. Where'd you get it?" Or how, share that recipe. that's how I've used the chat. I think there is a little messaging box on Facebook.
So besides the messaging box, is there live where you can
Yes.
comment, and
Yeah,
then
I
people
think
can come on and
so.
comment, and then others and others,
Yeah,
like Facebook?
and you have your friends on there, and it'll show like, oh, look what so and so pinned today. Like you'll get little notifications. I rarely look at that kind of stuff, but it's not as interactive. I feel like as like Facebook and Instagram, but yeah, it is a social media tool. It really is.
So, talk about, I don't know, you may be more, I'm not involved in Instagram much. One of my businesses, we utilize it some, but Snapchat, Instagram, those kind of things. What do you know about those?
So I use Instagram personally, but that's where I post like my kiddos, a little more personal things. I don't post that on Facebook, not in like a weird way, but I have a lot more friends on Facebook, just through the chamber, people that I say friends, quote unquote friends, but people that I follow, people that follow me, whatever. Instagram, I keep it a lot more private. It's my closer, tight-knit friends and family, and that's it.
So
It's a private account. You wouldn't be able to see anything.
I was going to say, so if you and I aren't friends on Instagram, I wouldn't see what you're posting.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
And I guess that's the way it is
like.
on Facebook, isn't it? But you just have a
I
broader
think
group
so.
of friends.
Correct.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah,
because
and
of-
when I lived in Denver for 4 years, college for time for this, I was at UNM for a while, Texas Tech for a while, so there's like friends from all, like Jeffrey was saying earlier, I started Facebook when I was at Tech, and can't remember if it was Tech or UNM. I think it was at Tech.
Well,
So 2003-ish, 2004.
I was going to say, when I should have asked Jeffrey, but maybe you'll know. When did Facebook start?
I think it was around then, like 2001, 2002.
Okay. I remember the other one was called MySpace.
Yes.
It was kind of predecessor
Had
or
that too. Mhm.
happening about the same time, but then Facebook took over and that went away.
Yeah, because Facebook was just, like he was saying, just for universities. So you connect with, your fellow college students and see what's going on. And it was a way, I think it first started out in the Greek system.
Okay.
If you've seen that social media, the movie, The Social Network, it has the whole history about it and like
I
how
think I
it
have.
started. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely started
it's
in
cool.
college,
Mhm.
and by guys that were going to college and wanted to be able to do what you said, which is interact with fellow college students, specifically maybe about what they're studying, but other things as well.
Well, and someone you might recognize why it's called the Facebook. Like you recognize their face, you don't know who that is. Oh, you can go to my poli-sci class and it'll pull up all the people registered in your poli-sci class. You're like, oh yeah, that's that person. And then you can kind of go get to know them in class and say, hey.
So did you use it that way?
I did.
Early on?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I did.
Okay. So that's something I didn't, a lot of this early stuff with social media, I didn't really understand it because I was one of those that are kind of like what I would say my brothers today. And again, I'm not saying the bad or good. I'm not trying to throw my brothers under the bus or something, but they're just not big on social media for a variety of reasons. And back then in 2002, 3, 1, whenever it became a big deal, I didn't really start using it until, Jeffrey just brought me a note and said it started in 2003 and you had to have a .edu
Yes.
email address to be able to join Facebook, and then it became open to anyone in 2006. Well, I was later in life. I didn't take on Facebook until about 2010, and I really didn't take it on then. I used it a tiny bit, but then in recent years I've used it a lot more. But anyway, I didn't realize that that's how it was. It was like you said, I've seen the movie. I knew it was college, but I didn't realize that's how you joined. And so it's been around for, I guess, 19 years now.
Yeah. And,
sorry.
and now
Yeah, 19.
what I've been finding out, like we've got a daughter in high school, and Facebook isn't the thing in high school, which is so crazy to think about. Like, I was in college when I got it, and now the high schoolers are like, meh.
Well, that's
They're
for
more
old
TikTok.
people.
Yeah, exactly.
I
They're
mean-
more TikTok, and I think now Facebook has morphed into the older generation. I say older, but our generation that was in college at the time, and so now we're turning 40 and up, and so there's that aspect of it, but also it's turned into a marketing tool. You get so many ads. You don't, like he was saying earlier, you don't necessarily see all of your friends. You see this select few that Facebook wants you to see, and that algorithm, I think, kind of upsets a lot of people because, man, sometimes I'll see something and it'll say this person posted it 3 weeks ago and I'm just now seeing it, I'm like, man, I haven't seen that person in a long time. This is cool. It's finally popping up, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It does get a little frustrating at times. I totally get that. So
Yeah.
I think the younger ones are more into Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, like you said. And you know, Snapchat's becoming a thing. We have learned how to do Snapchat filters, like for events, which is really cool for the younger crowd. Well, even my crowd. I like going to the Red Dirt Black Gold concert, and you pull up Snapchat and you're filming, and there's a cool filter that has Red Dirt Black Gold on it, you know. And you know, we tried to do a Balloons and Tunes one last year that they did not approve, so we're gonna attempt another one this year.
That they, as in the chamber, or the Balloons and
No,
Tunes?
the Snapchat people.
Oh, the
powers
Snapchat
that be
people.
said no.
Oh, well,
So we're gonna try again.
you know, I'm going to say this, and then we're going to take a break, but
Okay.
I'm going to comment on something you said. I find it interesting that, and I agree with you, that it seems like the younger generation, the high school age type, and even college age type, are not real big on Facebook. But I do see, at least in my small world of Facebook, kids coming onto it.
Yes, that's true.
You know, they didn't do it in high school, but now that they're in college, they start kind of migrating there. I think they're still on all the other social media sites. Obviously, I've got a daughter that you've got a kid in high school. I've got my youngest just went to college, so her freshman year is right now, her fall semester, first time in college, and she's not on Facebook, but I could see her transitioning to it, or at least maybe not transitioning away from the other sites that she uses, because she does use the other ones that you mentioned some. But I see a lot of kids her age that I all of a sudden are popping up on my Facebook saying request friend or whatever, and I'm thinking, interesting.
Oh, those are their friends. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
so,
same thing.
yeah.
Well, and I know I know you got to take a break, but LinkedIn is another one that a lot of, you know, it's more of a professional site, but it still is social media.
Yeah, LinkedIn, I used it before I used Facebook really, for business purposes, but I hardly ever get on there anymore. I get these notifications that people are saying congratulations on something.
Your work anniversary?
Yeah, and I haven't been doing that for
Oh my
15
goodness.
years, and I just never went in and updated my LinkedIn page. All right, well, we're going to
Okay.
continue here with Jessica Bollema here on the Good Morning Artesia show. We'll be back after this time out, and we're going to talk a little bit about last night. You said you're a fan of one of the teams. I won't spoil it yet. I'll let you talk about
Alrighty.
that. And then we're going to talk about chamber chat as well, and kind of monopolizing your time, but we'll talk about what's going on with the chamber. So